Hello students, welcome to the lecture on evolution of management thought, and after this lecture we will be able to learn the following objectives. Define the contributions of F. W. Taylor, describe the Henry Lawrence Gantt, discuss about the Frank and Lillian Gilbert, explain the contribution of Fowles and Elton Mayo, discuss about Chester Bernard and Abraham H. Maslow, understand about management science and mathematical school, describe the management approach. Let's start with an introduction to evolution of management thought. The evolution of modern management began in the closing decades of the 19th century after the Industrial Revolution had swept through Europe, Canada and the United States. In the new economic climate, managers of all types of organizations, political, educational and economic, were increasingly trying to find better ways to satisfy customer needs. The introduction of steam power and the development of sophisticated machinery and equipment changed the way in which goods were produced, particularly in the weaving and clothing industries. Small workshops run by skilled workers who produced hand-manufactured products were being replaced by large factories in which sophisticated machines controlled by hundreds or even thousands of unskilled or semi-skilled workers made products. Owners and managers of the new factories found themselves unprepared for the challenges accompanying the change from small-scale crafts production to large-scale mechanized manufacturing. Managers began to search for new techniques to manage their organizations, resources, and soon they began to focus on ways to increase the efficiency of the worker-task mix.
Management thinking has evolved over thousands of years to become what it is today. Early breakthroughs in managerial thinking can be traced as far back as 2200 BC. Managers operate organizations and make decisions within a given set of cultural values and institutions. They are affected by their environment as well as affect the environment that they are working in. There are four cultural facets that heavily influence management thinking: economic, social, political, and technological. You can trace management decisions to one of these four facets of a society. Babylonian king Hammurabi issued a code of 282 laws, some of which governed business dealings. Law 104 was the first historical mention of accounting. It dealt with the handling of receipts and established an agency relationship and accountability between the merchant and the agent. His code also regulated wages and fees, such as fixing surgeons' fees and wages for labor. Under his code, there was no incentive for people to do more than required because of the regulated wages. One of the most ancient terms used to describe a professional managerial role is vizier. From this, we derive the word supervisor. We can trace this word back to ancient Egypt and the Hebrew Joseph. The office of vizier was an office of director, organizer, coordinator, and decision maker. Under the vizier, an elaborate bureaucracy was developed to measure the rise of the Nile River, on which every part of the economy depended. These were sophisticated methods of managing for the times, through forecasting, planning work, dividing the work among the various people and departments, and establishing a professional full-time administrator to coordinate and control the state enterprise. Sun Tzu was the founder of strategic management thinking. Though his philosophies take place in a military combat setting, they can very easily be applied to strategic business decisions. He provides insight into dealing with not only the enemy or competitive forces, but also the management of people. Sun Tzu said, "Regard your soldiers as your children, and they will follow you into the deepest valleys. Look upon them as your own beloved sons, and they will stand by you even unto death. If, however, you are indulgent, but unable to make your authority felt, kind-hearted, but unable to enforce your commands, and incapable, moreover, of quelling disorder, then your soldiers must be likened to spoiled children. They are useless for any practical purpose." He also said, "The skillful employer of men will employ the wise man, the brave man, the covetous man, and the stupid man." The Additionally, Sun Tzu stated, "Strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. Tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat." Socrates observed that managerial skills were transferable. He said, "The management of private concerns differs from that of public concerns only in the magnitude. Neither can be carried out without men, and those who understand how to employ others are successful directors of private and public concerns, and those who do not understand will err in the management of both." While Socrates contributed to management philosophy, he is most known for his views on ethics. Plato, a pupil of Socrates, remarked on human diversity and how this led to the division of labor. This notion that a division of labor would optimize productivity would persist for nearly 2,000 years, forming the basis for organizing work and determining how best to utilize the diverse abilities of people. Aristotle, a student of Plato, provided numerous insights into management and organization in politics. On the specialization of labor, he said, "Every work is better done which receives the soul, and not the divided attention of the worker." On departmentation, he states, "Every office should have a special function, and one question is, should offices be divided according to the subjects with which they deal, or according to the persons with which they deal?" On centralization, decentralization, and delegation of authority, he is quoted as saying, "We should also know over which matters several local tribunals are to have jurisdiction, and those in which authority should be centralized. For example, should one person keep order in the market and another in some other place, or should the same person be responsible everywhere?" On synergy, he says, "The whole is naturally superior to the part." On leadership, he said, "He who has never learned to obey cannot be a good commander." Chanakya Kautilya of Hindu India cautioned that it was difficult to find competent officials because humans are naturally fickle-minded and, like horses at work, exhibit constant change in their temper. Further, it is impossible for a government servant not to eat up at least a bit of the king's revenue. To keep order, he advised close controls, severe punishment, a network of spies within the government to watch over employees, and techniques to tempt employees to test their loyalty. Kautilya's assumptions about human nature are as modern as they are ancient, as are the prescriptions he provided on maintaining order. He also wrote on the desired traits of administrators and how to select personnel through interviews and references. He established departments with directors and prepared detailed job descriptions for various offices.
Let us now talk about the contributions of F.W. Taylor. While working in Midwell Company as a manager, Taylor observed that employees were not performing as per their capacity of productivity, and he considered that this condition was occurring because of no care towards the waste. Taylor worked towards the experiments at his workplace to increase the workers' efficiency so that maximum output could be achieved by utilizing effort at maximum level. Scientific task setting. Taylor observed that the management does not know exactly the works, pieces of work, volume of works which are to be performed by the workers during a fixed period of time, which is called working day. Differential payment system. Under this system, a worker received the piece rate benefit, which will attract the workers to work more for more amounts of wages, and more incentives would be created to raise the standardization of output to promote the workers to produce more and perform more tasks than before and utilize waste time to earn more wages. Reorganization of supervision. Concepts of separation of planning and doing and functional foremanship were developed. Taylor opines that the workers should only emphasize in planning or in doing. There should be 8 foremen, in which 4 are for planning and 4 for doing. For planning, they were route clerk, instruction code clerk, time and cost clerk, and disciplinarian. And for doing, they were speed boss, gang boss, repair boss, and inspector. Scientific recruiting and training. Staffs and workers should be selected and employed on scientific basis. Management should develop and train every worker by providing proper knowledge and training to increase their skills and make them effective. Economy. Efficient cost accounting system should be followed to control cost, which can minimize the wastages and thoroughly reduced and thus eliminated. Mental revolution. Taylor argued that both management and workers should try to understand each other instead of quarreling for profits and benefits, which would increase production, profit and benefits. Moving on to the next topic, let us talk about Henry Lawrence Gantt. Gantt is often seen as a disciple of Taylor and a promoter of the scientific school of management. In this earlier career, the influence of Taylor and Gantt's aptitude for problem solving resulted in attempts to address the technical problems of scientific management. Gantt made 4 individual and notable contributions. The task and bonus system. Gantt's task and bonus wage system was introduced in 1901 as a variation on Taylor's differential piece rate system. With Gantt's system, the employee received a bonus in addition to his regular day rate. If he accomplished the task for the day, he would still receive the day rate even if the task was not completed, whereas Taylor's piece rate system penalized employees for substandard performance. As a result of introducing Gantt's system, which enabled workers to earn a living while learning to increase their efficiency, production often more than doubled. The perspective of the worker. Gantt realized that his system offered little incentive to do more than just meet the standard. He subsequently modified it to pay according to time allowed, plus a percentage of that time if the task were completed in that time or less. Hence, a worker could receive 3 hours pay for doing a 2-hour job in 2 hours or less. But here Gantt brought in an innovation by paying the foreman a bonus if all the workers met the required standard. The chart. Gantt's bar chart started as a humble but effective mechanism for recording the progress of workers towards the task standard. A daily record was kept for each worker in black if he met the standard, in red if he did not. This expanded into further charts on quantity of work per machines, quantity of work per worker, cost control and other subjects. The social responsibility of business. After the death of Taylor in 1917, Gantt seemed to distance himself further from the core principles of scientific management and extended his management interests to the function of leadership and the role of the firm itself. As his thinking developed, he believed increasingly that management had obligations to the community at large, and that the profitability organization had a duty towards the welfare of society. Students, moving on to the next topic, we shall now talk about Frank and Lillian Gilbreth. Lillian and Frank Gilbreth both came of age during the Belle Epoque, a time when American industry and ways were first threatening to become internationally predominant. After Taylor, Frank and Lillian Gilbreth made numerous contributions to the concept of scientific management. Frank Gilbreth is considered the father of motion study. Lillian Gilbreth was associated with the research pertaining to motion studies. Let's now talk about Fiole's contribution. Fiole developed theory of management. According to him, managerial excellence is a technical ability and can be acquired. He developed theories and principles of management which are universally accepted and make him universalistic. Henry Fiole, a French industrialist, offered 14 principles of management for the first time in 1916. During the period of 1920 to 1940 in the US, many authors did hard work in developing and testing various principles of management. Henry Fiole's principle of management. Following are the 14 principles of management developed by Henry Fiole. Division of work. According to Henry Fiole, under division of work, the worker always on the same post, the manager always concerned with the same matters, acquires an ability, sureness and accuracy which increase their output. Authority and responsibility. Authority and responsibility go together or coexisting. Both authority and responsible are the two sides of a coin. If anybody is made responsible for any job, he should also have the concerned authority. Fiole's principle of management in this regard is that an efficient manager makes best possible use of his authority and does not escape from the responsibility. Discipline. According to Henry Fiole, discipline means sincerity about the work and enterprise, carrying out orders and instructions of superiors, and to have faith in the policies and programs of the business enterprise. Unity of direction. Fiole advocates one head and one plan, which means that group efforts on a particular plan be led and directed by a single person. This enables effective coordination of individual efforts and energy. This fulfills the principles of unity of command and brings uniformity in the work of same nature. Subordination of individual interests to general interests. The interest of the business enterprise ought to come before the interests of the praised individual workers. Sometimes the employees, due to this ignorance, selfishness, laziness, carelessness, and emotional pleasure, overlook the interest of the organization. Centralization and decentralization. There should be one central point in the organization which exercises overall direction and control of all the parts. But the degree of centralization of authority should vary according to the needs of situation. According to Fiole, there should be centralization in small units and proper decentralization in big organization. Scalar chain. The scalar chain is a chain of supervisors from the highest to the lowest rank. It should be short-circuited. An employee should feel the necessity to contact his superior through the scalar chain. The authority and responsibility is communicated. The Fiole defines scalar chain as the chain of superiors ranging from the ultimate authority to the lowest rank. Rough this scalar chain. Order. According to Fiole, there should be proper, systematic and orderly arrangement of physical and social factors such as land, raw materials, tools and equipments and employees respectively. Equity. The principle of equality should be followed and applicable at every level of management. There should not be any discrimination as regards caste, sex and religion. An effective management always accords sympathetic and human treatment. The management should be kind, honest and impartial with the employees. Stability, use of personnel. Principle of stability is linked with long tenure of personnel in the organization. This means production being a teamwork, and efficient management always builds a team of good workers. If the members of the team go on changing, the entire process of production will be disturbed. Initiative. Under this principle, the successful management provides an opportunity to its employees to suggest their new ideas, experiences, and more convenient methods of work. The employees who has been working on the specific job since long discover now better alternative approach and technique of work. Spirit of cooperation. Spirit D. Crops. In order to achieve the best possible results, individual and group effort is to be effectively integrated and coordinated. Production is a teamwork for which the wholehearted support and cooperation of all the members at all levels is required.
His first principle is the division of labor. This will lead to the specialization of workers, which increases their efficiency and the quality of their work. The second principle is authority. Managers must be in charge of their employees and be able to give their employees orders. Henry's third principle is discipline. Employees should understand that slacking or the breaking of rules will have negative consequences. Fiole's fourth principle is the unity of command. Every employee should report to only one manager. His fifth principle is the unity of direction. A manager must create a good plan and their employees should follow it exactly for effective results. His sixth principle is the subordination of individual interests. Employees should avoid being distracted while at work to help them remain productive. Fiole's seventh principle is remuneration. Employees should receive equal and fair payment for the work that they complete. His eighth principle is centralization. Decisions should be made from the top and enacted out by everyone else. This helps to ensure unity. His ninth principle is the scalar chain. The chain of command must remain clear. Everyone should know who they report to and who reports to them. His 10th principle is order. Everything belongs somewhere, so it should remain there whenever possible. Henry's 11th principle is equity. Managers should support their employees and keep their best interests in mind. His 12th principle is personal tenure. Employees should be kept on as long as possible because they are valuable assets. His 13th principle is initiative. Employees should be made to like their jobs so that they look forward to doing them. His 14th principle is esprit de corps. Everyone should work together as a team and understand one another.
Max Weber contributions to management. Max Weber, born to a wealthy family and had a strong political ties in Germany, became a sociologist, editor, consultant to government and author. Weber constructed an ideal type so that he could study this movement towards rationality of organizations. He termed this ideal type a bureaucracy which described an organization in its most rational form. Let's move on to the next topic, Elton Muir. Elton Muir was an Australian psychologist, sociologist, and organization theorist. He carried out a number of investigations to look at ways of improving productivity, for example, changing lighting conditions in the workplace. Physical conditions or financial incentives had little motivational value. He concluded that people's work performance is dependent on both social issues and job content. Chester Bernard. Chester Bernard's ideas were people-focused, stressing the attention that must be paid to informal aspects of the organization. His work fits within and was probably influenced by the human relations school of management thinking that emerged from the 1920s with the Hawthorne studies. Bernard was very influential in his time and can be seen as one of the founders of organization theory. Let's now move on to the next topic, Abraham H. Maslow. Abraham Harold Maslow was an American psychologist. Maslow is mostly noted today for his proposal of a hierarchy of human needs and is considered the father of humanistic psychology. Abraham Maslow's life. Abraham Maslow was born and raised in Brooklyn, the eldest of 7 children. His parents were uneducated Jewish immigrants from Russia. Abraham Maslow attended City College in New York. His father hoped he would pursue law, but he went to graduate school at the University of Wisconsin to study psychology. From 1937 to 1951, Maslow was on the faculty of Brooklyn College. In New York, he found 2 more mentors, anthropologist Ruth Benedict and Freudian psychologist Max Wertheimer, whom he admired both professionally and personally. Abraham Maslow saw human beings' needs arranged like a ladder. The most basic needs at the bottom were physical air, water, food, sex. Then came safety needs, security, stability, followed by psychological or social needs for belonging, love, and acceptance. Frederick Herzberg. Only influence motivation negatively when they are not satisfied, becoming neutral when satisfied. From here it can be concluded that when one of the needs represented by these factors is not satisfied, discouragement is caused. But if, on the other hand, the need is satisfied, is not caused either motivation or discouragement. Motivational factors. Influence motivation positively, being when satisfied, the needs associated to them contribute to a motivation increase, and if on the other hand, the need is not satisfied, is not caused either motivation nor discourage. They include the possibilities of personal success and professional progress, the responsibility given to them, the recognition for the successes, interpersonal relations, the nature of the performed tasks, etc. Linker and Douglas McGregor, Theory X to Y. Douglas McGregor, an American social psychologist, proposed his famous XY theory in his 1960 book, The Human Side of Enterprise. McGregor's XY theory is a salutary and simple reminder of the natural rules for managing people under which the pressure of day-to-day business are all too easily forgotten. McGregor's ideas suggest that there are two fundamental approaches to managing people. Theory X, authoritarian management style. The average person dislikes work and will avoid it he or she can. Therefore, most people must be forced with the threat of punishment to work towards organizational objectives. The average person prefers to be directed to avoid responsibility, is relatively unambitious, and wants security above all else. Theory Y, participative management style. Effort and work is as natural as work and play. People will apply self-control and self-direction in the pursuit of organizational objectives without external control or the threat of punishment. Commitment to objectives is a function of rewards associated with their achievement. People usually accept and often seek responsibility. The capacity to use a high degree of imagination, ingenuity and creativity in solving organizational problems is widely, not narrowly distributed in the population. In industry, the intellectual potential of the average person is only partly utilized. Theory Z, William Ouch. The first things first. Theory Z is not a McGregor idea, and as such is not McGregor's extension of his XY theory. Theory Z was not developed by McGregor but by William Ouchy in his book 1981. Theory Z, How American Management Can Meet the Japanese Challenge. William Ouch is professor of management at UCLA, Los Angeles, and a board member of several large US organizations. Students, can any one of you describe management science? Management science is an interdisciplinary branch of applied mathematics, engineering and sciences that uses various scientific research-based principles, strategies and analytical methods including mathematical modeling, statistics and algorithms to improve an organization's ability to enact rational and meaningful management decisions. The management science approach stresses the use of mathematical models and statistical methods for decision making. Operations management. Operations management is an applied form of management science. Operations management is concerned with inventory management, work scheduling, production planning, facilities location and design, quality assurance. Operations research. Operational research is a discipline that deals with the application of advanced analytical methods to help make better decisions. Employing techniques from other mathematical sciences such as mathematical modeling, statistical analysis and mathematical optimization, operations research arrives at optimal or near optimal solutions to complex decision-making problems. Let's now move on to the next topic, mathematical school. The approach of the mathematical school to the fundamental problems of political economy generally differs little from the conceptions prevalent in Bourdieu's economic thought in the second half of the 19th century and first third of the 20th. The mathematical school's place in the history of economic science, however, is due to its attaching decisive importance to mathematics as a method of studying economic phenomena. The mathematical school has always attracted the interest of Marxist economists. Soviet economist I.G. Blumen made a thorough critical analysis of the representatives of the school as early as the 1920s. With the sharply increased use of mathematical models in Soviet economic science since the 1960s, the mathematical school has again become the object of intensive critical analysis. Moving on to the next topic, let us now talk about management approach. There are different approaches of management. Decision theory approach. The decision theory of management, led by Herbert Simon, looks management process as a decision-making process. Simon's decision model is based on two concepts: bounded rationality and satisfying. The manager who seeks to take logical and rational approach to decision can follow these 6 steps. Recognize and define the decision situation, identify appropriate alternatives, evaluate each alternative, select the best alternative, implement the alternative and evaluate the results and follow up. Systems approach. The systems approach to management is a concept which views a company as an interconnected purposive system that consists of several business sections. The entire system can be broken into 3 parts, namely input, process and output. Input involves the raw materials, funds, technology, etc. The process refers to activities related to management, technology, operations, etc. Output are the products, results, etc. The response or feedback in a system focuses on the information and data which is utilized for executing certain operations. These inputs aid in correcting the errors found in the processes. Elements of a system. A system is made of different subsystems, internal and external. These subsystems are interconnected and influence each other and the system as a whole. Open and closed system. The organization can act as an open or a closed system. An open system is the one where the elements of the system can interact with the environment. This interaction can involve the transfer of material, information or manpower. An assembly line can be treated as a closed system if it does not interact for supply of raw materials. The 7S model. The 7S model that is developed by McKinsey and Company consulting firm. It exclusively concentrates on the 7 key factors that are responsible for enabling organizations to reach their desired goals. The key factors include organizational strategy, the plan to maintain the competitive edge, business structure, the hierarchy of the organization, efficient systems, the day-to-day procedures and activities related to staff and processes, style, the management style that is adopted, skills, the competence of the employees, staff, the employees of the organization, corporate shared values, the core values on which the company is built. It also refers to the organization's working culture. Now in the end, let us summarize what we have learnt in this lecture. Gantt was interested in an aspect of industrial education which he called the habits of industry, habits of industriousness and cooperation, doing work to the best of one's ability and pride in the quality as well as the quantity of work. The Gilbreths devised a classification scheme to label 17 basic hand motions such as search, select, position and hold, which they used to study tasks in a number of industries. Henry Fayol, a French industrialist, offered 14 principles of management for the first time in 1916. Weber constructed an ideal type so that he could study this movement towards rationality of organizations. Bernard was very influential in his time and can be seen as one of the founders of organization theory. Maslow's primary contribution to psychology is his hierarchy of needs. Maslow contended that humans have a number of needs that are instinctual, that is innate. Management science, MS, is an interdisciplinary branch of applied mathematics, engineering and sciences that uses very scientific research-based principles, strategies and analytical methods including mathematical modeling, statistics and algorithms to improve an organization's ability to enact rational and meaningful management decisions. The discipline is typically